What does it take to make an NFT successful? Do you need to have a big bucks in your pocket, or you just need a really good project? It actually all depends, and it's a random walk in the NFT world. Today, I want to speak about one project that actually came with an original idea of doing a profile picture and has evolved so much that it has brought people from Ethereum to Solana. This being said, although I hold some gods, I'm not affiliated to them, and this is not financial advice. Let's take a deeper look on it and why I believe that it's one of the best projects right now on the Solana blockchain. Solgods was a project that was minted at the end of October, and months later, they're still making noise. The floor value has increased, and you can perfectly see how and why this is happening. The first thing to mention is that the Solgods only presented themselves as a profile picture, and they actually provided something to the community, which was an enigma, which we will see later on. And the inspiration of the gods it's done by Giorgio Di Chirico, an Italian artist that was born in Greece at the beginning of 1900s. We can perfectly mention that this art is unique. These are the ones that you can be minted, and they are already on secondary markets, making a lot of volume, increasing the value from the minting for a 2x or 3x already. Not financial advice, guys. They actually have a really nice, compelling story where they are explaining where these Solgods appear. They come out of nowhere, and they started trying to communicate with humans. But the reality is that humans didn't care much about this. So what happened is that at some point, the gods got tired. They stopped trying to communicate, even if the humans didn't understand. They were not keen on understanding it. The term singularity became a taboo, and people refused to accept that technology was not only becoming part of our lives, but it had become our life. Seems a little bit relative. After the story keeps going on, and I would definitely suggest you to read it all, it's really, really nice. On chapter 3, they actually started explaining how the Solgods separate themselves after a while, elevated themselves to an utopian dome that has opened for the first time ever. And what happened is that people, in order to ascend, they need to understand what the Solgods are saying. And here comes the part of the enigma. Right now, we are on the stage 3 of the final enigma. You can perfectly read here what's the story, and you have to find certain clues which are created by the gods in order to understand and be able to ascend. This is the third stage. They actually started with the first one, which is the Holy Enigma. With the Holy Enigma, you could be able to ascend. There were certain spots, if I'm not mistaken, there were 50. With a couple of clues that they were here involved, you were able to get there. You received certain clues that you had to use and search in their 6,666 codes to understand what the word was saying. When you had the first information on the Solgods, you had to follow some extra steps in order to get to the final answer. If you guys wanna solve this puzzle, I will not be spoiling. Then it appeared the second enigma, the Holy Enigma 2.0. Had a combination of binary codes with Morse code, and it also provided the information in certain steps. And of course, solving the first enigma was helping you, as the method that was used for Enigma 2.0 was pretty similar. But right now, we find ourselves on the third enigma. If you manage to understand what the gods intend to express, and you provide it in the form that it's requested below, you will be the rightful owner of this one-on-one NFT of the Solgods, which, spoiler, it's a doctor. If you are curious about the rarities or the value of the Solgods, you can actually check in howrare.is or how rare is the rarity of each one. Most of the Solgods are not being sold, as most of the people want to hold for them. I believe there must be a reason for this. Of course, one of the sites to find the Solgods and the activity of how the movement is going is Magic Eden, as the floor price is 1.9, where the average sale is 2.41. The reason why not many people sweep the floor is because they don't go for floor prices, they look for the style. That's something that attracts the people in the community of the Solgods. And as we can see, there are several different Solgods that you are being able to find for a price over 10 20 souls. The reason for this is most of the people understand that the value of the Solgods is just getting started. They have a growing community. They have started to have really nice connections. They have managed to bring people from the Ethereum blockchain into the Solana blockchain, which is something really big, but it doesn't finish there, as the Solgods has not finished as they intended, just being a profile picture. It has evolved, and this is something that they actually address on their Medium post, which I'm gonna be mentioning right now for you guys. On this one, they actually explained that they simply wanted to bring a fine art to the profile picture NFT scene, and that they have been blessed with one of the most engaged communities in the space. There has been a growing support since launch, and we have felt and built something truly special here. They provided a summary overall. In order to go with all the details, I will speak about the future of the Fracture or the Solgods, which they actually mentioned that they have created the Fracture. The title encapsulates the fantasy world on which the story exists, and the primary characters within the story are being the gods. Within the Fracture, there are 3 factions: the gods, the bridged, and the forgotten. We are actively looking to bring the fantasy world to life in more visceral ways. We plan to build a faction to have a different strengths and weakness, and this will be to facilitate the inter-community competitions with the earning mechanics as a reward. Alongside with this, we are looking to include bounties where members can wager their points against a different faction. So they are gonna create an internal game divided in 3 different sections: the gods, the bridges, and the forgotten. In the story, the forgotten are the people left behind, the bridges are the ones that they are trying to cross, and the gods, well, here we have a god. With the Fracture, which has been airdropped to anybody holding a Soul God, they will be developing a yield system, where this means that in order to yield, you must have the Fracture NFT. If you have not held it because you bought the NFT later than the 14th, you can actually get it on a secondary market. Having a floor under 0.4 souls, it seems like people are still not understanding the use of it. They are actually offering it pretty cheap. Something that in comparison, the value of the Solgods and the floor price has increased at least a 3x, as they started with 0.66 as the minting price. Although a yield system is still on early stages, it's better to do the things slow and steady than just try to throw something there and see how it comes. I really prefer the approach that the Solgods are doing. Of course, the original community will always be focused on this project, which are the gods, and it is for this reason that the Solgods NFT token holders will be airdropped the next 2 factions, the Bridged and the Forgotten, for free. So if you guys are holding a god, or you are interested in holding a god, you should definitely do it before they release these airdrops. That way you are getting 2 more NFTs almost for free. Besides this point, they are continuing with the story of the Fracture through various forms of media. They are now working with animators to produce more content on this direction. The original creator of the Solgods is Funky Steady, if you guys want to give a follow on Twitter. They are currently also in talk with architects to design a playable experience that may or may not contain complicated solvable puzzles. May or may not. And moving forward, we will be looking to organize more events like in the interactive community element. This will take the form of Solgod poker tournaments and chess tournaments as some initial examples. There's gonna be also a meetup on London on January 2022, and they're planning to bring the Solgod merch, which hasn't been their primary focus. And in order to bring a really good quality product, they are actually working with the company that provides the supplies of the board Ape Yacht Club, and it will be available for shipping worldwide, which something really good that they're gonna be doing is that you can integrate your own Solgod in the merch itself. In order to use this system, there's gonna first appear the yield system, so we will still need to wait a few different stages in order to get the merch. But a Solgod DAO has been something that has not been part of our initial plan, although the community has requested it, the gods have built it in order to keep growing together. As a closure on their post, they have mentioned that we have been discussing the relation and the end goal with our project. This is something that we currently don't wish to clearly define. As time goes on, new and interesting ways of bringing NFT to life through conscious experience present themselves. We want to stay adaptable and open to implement the best representation of the technology that we built on. What we can say is what our vision is: a multiple-layer experience alongside with fellow community members in an immersive and interactive format. This will be partnered with an earning mechanic to facilitate a reward system. This is a project I would definitely recommend you take a look at it. We have arrived at the end of the video, but this is not the only NFT project that I'm interested in. If you are curious, take a look at my videos and maybe you find what you're looking at. See you at the next one.